Good afternoon. We're back for another card review, this time Foundations of Stone. For the last few card packs, the Long Dark I didn't think was very good. The Watcher in the Water I loved. And this one I love. There's some great cards in here. Some interesting cards. So let's get started. The hero for this AP is Glorfindel. 3 questing, 3 attack, 1 shield, 5 threat, 5 health. So he's almost a good quester and almost a good fighter. You could make a case for him in either role. However, he's not going to be as good at questing as Eowyn. He's not going to be as good a fighter as Gimli or Boromir without his attachments, which we'll talk about later in the AP. So I'll come back to this hero to talk more about him once we get to the attachments, because he's not quite good enough without the attachments, though he's really interesting in decks where you want to keep threat low at the start because of the 5 threat, and he exhausts when he quests. He adds 1 threat per. I think his other version was 12 threat, so let's say you quested will you quest 7 times in a game? I don't think so usually, and so in solo play you want to complete quests quickly before they overwhelm you. There's not been too many marathon quests so far. Maybe Foundations of Stone, the one that this AP is for. He's almost good. Almost good, with the caveat being the low threat can be very good. Almost good without the attachments. So we'll talk about him with the attachments a little bit later. Longbeard Elder, 3 cost, 2 questing, 1 attack, 1 shields. 3 questing with Dane. 3 cost for 3 questing is great. Response: after Longbeard Elder commits to a quest, look at the top card. If that card is location, place 1 progress token on the current quest. Otherwise he gets -1. So he's 3 questing power, sometimes 4, sometimes 2. That's still a great card, and you get the bonus of getting to look at the top card of the encounter deck before deciding who else you want to commit to the quest. So you commit him first, look at the top card, and then decide what else you want to do. Can help you avoid some terrible treacheries that affect characters that are committed to a quest. This is a great card. I'd play it in every dwarf deck that has Dane. Good card. Good addition to dwarves. Path of Need. 4 cost, limit 1 per deck. Attached to a location. I think this is the first card that's been limit 1 per deck. Attached to a location, heroes do not exhaust to attack, defend, or commit to a quest while attached location is the active location. That's really good. 1 per deck means you can't build a deck around it or count on getting it, though. At least not until Shadow and Flame comes out and you can play Master of the Forge to help you look for attachments. That's really good when you've got, say, Durin's Door up, or I'm sure there's going to be more quests with a location that sticks around for a while. You're not going to be able to rely on it because it's only 1 per deck. I don't like cards that you can't rely on that are swingy. This is going to be swingy, not because it's of the way it's designed, but because you can only play 1 per deck. Is it worth putting in a deck when you know a location's going to be around for a while? It'll get you a win sometimes. So if you were facing a quest that was so difficult that you could not beat it and a location was going to stick around for a while, this could help you beat that quest. So keep it in the back of your mind for the future if you run into a quest you can't beat. Because you're probably already buying this AP anyway for Glorfindel, so. Or possibly for Longbeard Elder as well. Trollshaw Scout. Cost 2 to attack. That's good. 1 shield, 2 health. Range. Does not exhaust to attack. That's good. After he attacks, either discard from play or discard 1 card from hand. That's bad. 2 attack for 2 cost is good. Discarding a card is bad. 2 attack for 2 cost is not good enough to justify discarding a card. I would not play this. Cost is too high. Heavy Stroke. After a dwarf deals X damage to an enemy, deal an additional X damage to that enemy. Could help you take down some big guys. I think Kazad is better because it helps you get through shields. This doesn't help you get through shields. I don't know if you would play both of them. I suppose you could if you had a really tough enemy. Could see some use. It's not overcosted. It's good cost. It's good effect. It's probably redundant. Imaldris Stargazer, 2 cost 001, so you're not playing it for the stats. Exhaust to choose a player. That player looks at the top 5 cards of his deck, then returns them to the top of his deck in any order. So it could help you with some situations where you have a card that has an effect on the top 5 of your deck or the top 1 of your deck, and you don't want to leave it to chance. So it's a combo card, which means it's a slow card, which means it's weaker on the weaker side for solo play. Solo play doesn't like slow cards. We have to get off to a fast start. Could be interesting in multiplayer though with combo decks, because you can use it for anybody. So yeah, could be helpful for combo decks in multiplayer, where you can get away with slower combo cards that are powerful but take time to build up to. Light of Valinor. Attached to Noldor or Sylvan Hero, attached hero does not exhaust to commit to quest. Extra action is always, always, always amazing. Unexpected Courage, Fast Hitch, Light of Valinor. Great, great, great cards, as long as it's not too expensive and you can play it early. And none of those cards are, and this one is not. The one downside is that it is unique. And let's talk about the uniqueness more when we get to Asphaloth at the end. Darrens Ruins. Draw 2 cards, then discard 1 from your hand. So I just talked about how being unique is bad because unique cards clog up your hand when you draw subsequent ones. And now they offer a solution, which is Darrens Ruins, and so you can discard a unique card and then you'll be drawing 2 cards, which is good. Drawing 2 cards for 0 cost and 1 card is great. Discarding 1 card is bad, but if you're discarding a unique card, that's fine. This could have a spot in decks with a lot of unique cards. Healing Herbs. However, again, it's going to be slow because it's a combo card. It combos with unique cards. And so there'll be, if you draw it early in the game, you're not going to be happy to see it. Which means it's a slower card, which means it's a little on the weaker side for multiplayer. For solo play, sorry. Multiplayer, it's probably fine. Healing Herbs. Attached to a lore hero, discard Healing Herbs and exhaust attached hero to heal all damage on 1 character. Okay, so it just sits around until you need it, and then you can heal up somebody fully. It's a decent healing option when you're taking damage on a hero. For a like 2 defender hero with 5 HP like Aragorn, that happens a lot where you go up to 4. You could use this for your healing option, but again, I don't really like healing cards. I prefer damage prevention. So I wouldn't run this unless I had to, but only because I don't personally like healing. Now I reserve the right to change that opinion later if you get cards that combo well with healing or something. But for now, I'm not a big fan of healing. I prefer damage prevention. However, if it was needed for a quest or something, this would be a fine option to heal damage on 1 character. Asphaloth. Attached to a Noldor or Sylvan hero, exhaust Asphaloth to place 1 progress token on any location. 2 tokens instead if attached hero is Glorfindel. Great card. Placing 2 progress tokens on any location is amazing. The only downside is if you're playing it with the best version of Glorfindel, the spirit version, it's off sphere, which means you have to run lore for one of your heroes. However, So let's talk about Glorfindel with his attachments now. I mentioned that he's almost good at questing and almost good at attack, but not quite good enough. With Asphaloth, he's the best quester in the game. AON can do 5 if you discard a card from hand. Glorfindel with Asphaloth can do 5. And you get to choose 2 on the active location. That's amazing. That just flat out breaks some of the quests from the past. Glorfindel with Asphaloth is the best quester in the game. The caveat for solo play is that it's a combo, and therefore it's a little slow in solo play. AON's going to be stronger early at questing. Combo, when you see cards that are exceptional together, you think combo, always consider in solo play, combos are weak early. And in solo play, weak early is bad. In multiplayer, it's bad, but it's less bad than solo. So, Glorfindel with Asphaloth and Light of the Valinor doesn't exhaust to commit to quest, so he starts with 5 threat, which is amazing. You're always going to want Light of Valinor in your hand, opening hand if you can. Glorfindel with Asphaloth is the best quester in the game. This hero is incredibly strong, even in solo play. In solo play, he's a little less good than multiplayer. However, I do think he is the go-to option. Well, let's talk about it a little more. He requires 2 unique cards to make him the best quester in the game. And that's an issue because unique cards are bad, especially when you're running a lot of them. If you're running Light of Valinor and Asphaloth and Steward of Gondor, you're going to have a problem in a lot of games where you're drawing a dead card too much, which means you have to run something else that discards those unique cards for a purpose, which would be like Darrens Ruins, or there'll probably be other cards after that, maybe Protector of Lorien or something. So it's really good when you get it set up. Now, there's a card coming out next AP, Master of the Forge, that helps you search for attachments, which means you can run 1 less copy of Light of Valinor or Asphaloth. And the Master of the Forge will help you search for them, so that's good. So, the Glorfindel, Light of Valinor, and Asphaloth are incredibly strong, but require additional cards beyond that to make it work, because Light of Valinor and Asphaloth are unique cards, and those clog up your hand, especially when you're running other unique cards. So, Glorfindel, very, very good, has to have a deck designed around him. And that deck needs to be designed to compensate for the weaknesses, possibly a weakness early, and needs to be designed to compensate for the uniqueness of his strong attachments, which means something like Darrens Ruins or Master of the Forge. And so he is very, very strong, but limits your deck building options a little bit. You have to include a lore hero. You have to play a card that compensates for unique cards. But if you're willing to do that in your deck design, he's very, very strong. Yep, very, very strong if you're willing to compensate for his weaknesses in deck design. You could say the same thing about dwarves. They're very, very strong, but you have to be willing to compensate for their weaknesses in deck design and accept that they're going to be a little weak early until you get your combos set up. Light of the Valinor can be played turn 1, but Asphaloth cannot. And so AON's going to be the superior quester for a turn or 2. Till Glorfindel gets rolling, and maybe longer if you don't draw Asphaloth right away. So, gonna be a little bit swingy in solo play. It's better on multiplayer. Very strong, needs a deck around him, a little bit swingy. But still gonna find a place in a lot of solo decks, a lot of solo quests, and be a good card. Especially since he can wield Rivendell blades. That's going to be like the strategy for beating some of the tougher bosses is dual wielding Rivendell blades on him. And in which case you'll build the deck around him because that's the best strategy to do it. He's 3 attack and cutting through all the shields is amazing. So yeah, good card. Build the deck around him. Except that you're going to have bad draws sometimes or unique cards clogging up your hand. But you'll do it because he'll enable you to just defeat quests you couldn't before, or he'll enable you to defeat quests more efficiently that you could beat before. If you're not playing a dwarf deck right now, I think he's one of the go-to heroes for Spirit. Probably the go-to hero for Spirit, edging out Eowyn if you can build the attachments in the deck around him. Eowyn's more plug and play. So, thanks for watching.